Well, welcome everybody. I'm so glad everybody's here. This is a huge crowd. I'm really glad to see everybody here. How many people have seen one of us on YouTube or Instagram before? Well, look at that. That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, if you'd asked that question 10 years ago, people would have said, "What's YouTube?" Right? And now everybody's participating. It's a great thing. Look, let me start out by saying, hi, I'm Ken. I start out all my videos saying, hi, I'm Ken, and I'll give you just a little bit of inside psyche. I don't say, hi, I'm Ken Flowers, because when I first started out, I had this anxiety that, I'm going to get a stalker and I got to be careful. I don't think that's true. Everyone I've met is been great. But, there's this anxiety about new technology. So I start out all my videos. It's become a kind of a trademark now. Hi, I'm Ken. I love that part of it. I started out doing YouTube because maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Graham Beck, who, has anyone heard of Graham Beck? He's kind of a small YouTuber that people have heard of before. He's huge. That's right. He's huge. He made a video where he said the community is building up. There's becoming more of an online community. If you have content, share it on YouTube. It's easy to start a channel. And I went, I can do that. So I started out on the recommendation of Graham. I'll say that when I started out, in the hobby again, when I retired, I started looking on YouTube for content, and there was none, right? None. That was 5 years ago. Not quite none. There were maybe 4 to 5 creators out there then, 5 years ago. I keep a running track on the YouTube side of things. At the end of 2024, there were 30 creators. 30 YouTube creators. I'm not talking Instagram yet or X or anything else. There were 13 of them that had more than 1,000 subscribers. Okay? 1,000 subscribers is nothing in YouTube land, but it's a lot for stamp collectors. A year ago,
1,000 stamp collectors left?
Right? A year ago, I'm sorry, at the end, right now in 2026, I have on my list 62, and I think I've fallen behind on counting how many YouTube creators there are, just YouTube, and now there are 28 of those who have over 1,000 subscribers. So there's a lot of content on YouTube. Now, I do a very little bit of Instagram, and I stopped doing X for reasons some of you might think about a couple years back. But we've got X, we've got YouTube, we've got Instagram. So social media has become a big thing, right? I think we also have a belief that stamp collecting is a hobby for old, crusty men. Yeah?
Half true.
It's kind of half true. But look around this room, right? This is not a room full of half-crusty old men. Half true, half crusty.
Half full.
Half full. This is not a room of crusty old men. This is a variety of people. And if you go to the show, I think we see something totally different in the hobby now. But when I went to shows 5 years ago, in fact, it was a totally different landscape. And I think from my own personal opinion, we are seeing social media be one of the drivers for why collecting is changing again and bringing more a variety of people into the hobby. I think that's fantastic. But the other thing I want to point out is we're the people that go to shows. The people who do collecting online are not necessarily the same people. And so we have this image in our head of who the stamp collectors are, but that image misses the people who are online. So I'm really thrilled today to have a panel of people who create on social media to come here and talk about what they do and why they do it. I hope to make this a little bit of a discussion, and I hope that we'll get some ideas from you and come up with some insights today. So with that in mind, let me start by asking Oscar to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what you do on social media.
Well, thank you for the invitation to present at this wonderful conference all about social media and Philately. And just to carry on from your point there, Ken, I have in nearly 10 years of professional Philately seen great changes. There are a lot more people who are much more active now on social media than they were, say, 5 years ago, even more so. And I think the pandemic certainly helped with that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Oscar Young. I work for Stanley Gibbons in London, and I am one of the philatelists there. And when I'm not seeing customers describing stamps and selling stamps as a professional dealer, they somehow got me to do these videos online, and I'm told they're quite popular. Told that they're quite popular to the extent that people come up and talk to me, and I've never met them before, and they say how informative they found the videos, and they will only come want to speak to me and show me their stamp collection because they saw me on YouTube. And it's fun when that happens, but I still get surprised by it. The videos that I like to make, I always want them to be as correct and as accurate as I can make them, and as informative. And I'm a big fan of evergreen content. I don't like to do something and it sort of fades away within a couple of weeks. I like it something that's just almost permanent in a way, because a lot of the questions that we get are the same. You know, what's it worth? How, and advice and such things. And I think having good quality information is very important, because there's a lot of misinformation about stamps online, and when you deal with people, it's correcting people, but you have to do it in a nice way, and in a professional sense. It's very important to have good, accurate information out there, and that's what I'd like my content to be: good, quality, and accurate, and a bit of fun as well. We can have a lot of fun with our content as well. When it was the Penny Black's 185th birthday last year, my colleague and I, Gabriel, said, well, why don't we have a birthday party for a stamp? And it went rather well, and that became one of our highest watched videos, and all of us with, having a birthday party for a stamp. And I think that's an awful lot of fun, and that's what Philately is at the end of the day. It's a lot of fun.
Excellent, thank you. Tristan, do you want to chime in and tell us a little bit about what you do and where you create?
Yes, hi everybody. Good evening. I'm Tristan Diao. I'm currently based in the Netherlands, and I've been collecting since 1988, mostly long-running definitives from Switzerland, Germany, and France. On social media, I go by the username Tristan Stamps, and if you are on Instagram, this is my logo. And I'm mostly active on Instagram, creating reels, or what they call short-form videos, and static posts as well. And basically, these content are also cross-posted across Facebook and TikTok. So later on, we're going to talk about why I chose this particular platform.
Excellent, thank you. And Joe, are you want to chime in and talk about your content? I think maybe you're on mute. Maybe we don't have Joe, so we'll come back and see if Joe's able to join us. Ryan.
Hey, yeah. So I got into stamps when I was collecting as a kid. I had 3 sisters when I grew up. I was the only boy, so I had to find ways to keep myself entertained. I got my grandpa's stamp collection, like a lot of young people do, and I was into just about the 4th grade and learning about history. So it kind of connected dots for me and gave me something to do, and I had a lot of fun with them. And then I got into sports, and then I got married, and they went up in the closet, and I forgot about them for about a decade or more. And pulled them out of the closet when my wife, making room for my wife's stuff when she moved in. And I was like, I wonder if these things are worth money. I took them down to the local stamp club and showed them to all the guys there, and they're like, they're neat, but they're not worth anything. And I go, really? These were my grandpa's. I've had these since I was a kid. All these nostalgia and memories, right? And so that's got to have value. Monetary value is what I was looking for.
Of course.
So then that just kind of sent me down a rabbit hole of, well, then what is valuable? So I started looking up things online, and I just was very interested in how something could be this old and not worth anything, but here's something that is also maybe even newer, but is worth more than that. So it just got me learning and interested in that kind of thing. So I started, that's how I got into stamps. I can get into it later, but I ended up becoming a dealer. And then for the content, I would always get people messaging me saying that they have, a very rare and valuable stamp. As a dealer, you get a lot of people that don't know what they have. They rely on what they find online to determine what it is they have, and they would look up, they would describe what they have, and sure enough, it would come up on YouTube as the most expensive stamp in the world, and they thought they won the lottery. So my kids are super into YouTube and they watch influencers and they're like, Dad, you can make a better video than that. So I mostly started the YouTube channel to try to combat the misinformation about rare and valuable stamps, that these videos that would find the most common designs that happen to have a rare variety type of it that is rare and valuable, but there's like one or two known in the world or something. Washington Franklins are a good example of those types of stamps. And so I wanted to let people know that yes, they are, like, you might have a rare one, but the odds are pretty high that it's probably one of the common versions that looks exactly the same. So that was kind of my original approach for the channel, was to help people learn more about what it is that they might have and if it's valuable or not.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you. And you do YouTube?
Yes, YouTube. Yes.
Yeah.
And I do Facebook. I have a Facebook group that I sell 75 lots on. It's an auction style group using Facebook's platform, which is not an auction site. We had to come up with some rules. And so I was very surprised of how many people, there's a couple of my customers that I see here in the audience, but I was very surprised how people took onto it and were quickly able to pick up on it. So I do my selling on Facebook, but my content I do is on YouTube.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. So I'll ask you, I think I told you how I got started and you just said why you got started. Do either of you two want to reach out and say why you got started on YouTube?
Well, I mainly got started because I was told to. I was rather reluctant to do anything about it, and they said, "Oh, Oscar, you should do something." I think what I used to do at uni, I used to do debate club and other presentations that way. So it was sort of forced upon me. We did one video, did well, did another one, and they got polished over the years of me doing them, and they were generally ones that I'd asked to do or were told to do. And then when they were becoming more successful, I was given more creative control over what we could do. But I'm always at the mercy of other people because I don't create them myself. I just come up with ideas, and if almost like fielding to produce, and if the marketing team liked it, we would do the video. And or sometimes they would tell me what they wanted me to do. So it's half and half, but they do work, and it's amazing the feedback we get from them. I'm still quite surprised about it. You can perhaps more eagle-eyed video people who watch our videos will know which ones that, say, Gabriel and I have decided upon, and which ones that the marketing team have decided upon. That there's more philatelic emphasis, I think, on the ones which we pick rather than there, because they want to talk about passing events such as the auctions and sales that we're holding. Whereas I'd like to do more stamps, but you got to find a happy medium, I think. So that's how I got started. It was rather reluctantly, and I'm still surprised that so many people enjoy them, which is great. It certainly is great, and I wouldn't be here now if people didn't like them.
Let me point out to the audience that two of us here, we'll see if Joe chimes in, but two of us here, Tristan and I, don't have any business interactions with social media. We're not here for our business, right? Oscar and Ryan are here. They have businesses that they run with social media as an aspect of that. Can you talk, Oscar, about why the business asked you to do this thing? What is the business hoping to get out of it?
I think what they wanted us to do was to try something different. Of course, it's a marketing tool as well as purely sharing information out, because people run their whole businesses through social media. You see that through influencers. And I think they just wanted to open up another channel and talk about philately in a far more open space than had been traditionally, because before that, it was all done through societies and shows. And of course, having the virtual dimension has enabled us to reach other audiences. We've done videos about passing auctions, about things that were just of interest to us that we thought could aid collectors. And the response we've got has been tremendously positive. We've got new customers through these avenues, and we've learned many things, and other people have learned things as well. And we find so many people think how helpful the videos are, particularly if they're just starting out collecting. And that was another point we wanted to raise, I think our most watched video, well, there's two. One is all about the penny black, which was one of my favorite videos we ever did. And I did that in one take, that video, because I know so much about them. I talk about them every day, penny black. So I've kind of got to know about them. But the other one I'm very proud of is how we value a stamp collection. I mean, I wanted to put so much detail in, we had to do it in 2 or 3 parts. But that video has done very, very well. Because of course, when people encounter these collections, they have a million and one questions, and I hope those videos that go to answering them. And so I think from a business perspective, it's free marketing as well as getting out there to new audiences, and it's been overall very positive.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And Tristan, can you talk about why you do what you do? Not how you got started, but why do you bother with this? It's a lot of work.
So like most of you in the audience, all of us, my collecting interests and methods are very traditional. I go about it with everything that you're familiar with. I go to stamp shows, to see exhibits, to buy stamps, go home, sort and study varieties, looking for printing flaws and whatever. I join stamp clubs to exchange ideas and learn from the advanced collectors. However, as most of us are very much aware, in recent years, without a doubt, we cannot deny that the next generation of future collectors are no longer attending stamp shows. Okay? Attendance is coming down. They are not joining stamp clubs either. Membership is declining. We cannot deny this fact. So why is this exactly happening? And where are the young people? Where are they? Now we can look at this at a slightly different angle. Philately is not showing up where the next generation is looking. So it means to say that fundamental to human behavior, people tend to collect things. We hoard things. That's in our genes. And the younger generations are rediscovering this joy of accumulating and hoarding just about anything. Online, we can see vibrant communities going crazy over trading cards, sneakers, anime figures, and whatnot. So the key word here is discovery. And this discovery, which is happening right now, is very much different from 30, 40, 50 years ago. So for young people today, they are introduced to hobbies and interests on screen. So we see them scrolling all day, right? They don't go anywhere. They stay on their phones. They scroll. So they discover their interests on the screens. So the question is, why isn't philately up there being talked about as much as these other hobbies? So it boils, from my perspective, it boils down to what we call a visibility gap. So if young people don't encounter stamps on social media platforms, they would not become curious about them. So one cannot become passionate about something you have never discovered. So this also means that the next generation is not outright rejecting philately. It's not just showing up where they are looking. So we have to be there. So that was my motivation when I opened my or started my Instagram account 3 years ago, and it's all about philately. So I also separated anything personal. It's all about philately.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I have 2 Instagram accounts. I have my personal Instagram account, and I have my Philately Instagram account because my family doesn't want to see my stamp collection. Yeah. In fact, that's a big reason why I got into stamp content creation. Was every time I would sit at my table, I'd find a neat stamp, and I'd run into the living room and I'd say, "Look, honey, look at what I found." She's like, "That's very nice, dear." She didn't say it, but you could see it in her eyes. Go find someone who cares. She never would say that. She's a supportive spouse, just like we all have. But indeed, that's what I did. I found someone who cared by coming on to YouTube as a way to essentially have someone to talk to about my hobby. That was my sole motivation getting in. Now I just love. I've always loved teaching, so being on YouTube to teach through my channel, but also to share and have back and forths. To me, the currency in YouTube is comments. If I put out a video and I get comments, I'm thrilled to death. I don't care about views. I don't care about monetization. I don't care about any of that. Comments is what motivates me. So I love that part of it. Comments, people correct what I've got wrong in my videos. So for me, it's all about that back and forth with the community, to have a community that I can enjoy. So I think that's fun. Okay, so I did the why question. Does anybody in the panel have any goals that you set for your channel? Do you have any things that you do to say, I'm successful if?
Perhaps it's me being too modest, but I've never sort of thought of ways in which I look at it and think, have I been successful or not? If we get positive feedback, then overall, perhaps I do consider it a success. But I think in the long run, I just don't think about it that way. I create them because it's information and it's content, which I think is all to the benefit of the hobby rather than to me. It's just I'm the mouthpiece really for it all. I don't consider myself the driving force behind it. Or if I have an idea, I can present it, and if it works, it works. I've never been that overly critical about whether I've ever analyzed them as a success or as a failure. I think on the whole, I do try very hard to make sure that it's good, but not every video I would look at it and say it was my finest hour or a colleague's finest hour. But I think on the whole, if I think it's good, then I think it's okay for it to go out there. And if we don't receive any, nasty emails, then that I take as a success. That would be my take on it.
That's great. That's great. Ryan, did you have more to add?
Well, I don't have any really like metric goals for the channel. I did at one point because I was curious just to see what monetization looked like. So you have to hit certain thresholds on different platforms to enable that. So that was, I remember a couple of years ago when I was approaching that number, I was like, oh, that's going to be fun to see what that's like. But yeah, no, it's nothing, at least in the stamp world, likely not something you're going to retire off of. So you have to think of other goals and missions with your content. But my life before stamps, so I mentioned that kind of 10-year break I took between stamps and getting back into Philately. I went into marketing, and so I had a marketing agency out in California. We were a small kind of boutique agency. I did that for 10 years. Mostly I built websites and did digital marketing, social media marketing for other brands and companies. So I had a lot of experience doing social media and marketing for other businesses other than my own. So when I started the stamp business, doing that for myself was kind of came naturally. But I do one thing that maybe other people don't do, and I don't know if it's more of like my OCD and characteristics, but I do a thing called on my YouTube channel. I do this. I have some other social media channels that I have that I don't do this on, but I do a content grooming, which is where it's where you keep just the best of your content, and it's not really like people talk about algorithm and like, having so many views or comments or likes will help it get distributed more, and they don't disclose what those are. So I've seen great content not get any views, and I've seen horrible content go viral. There's no real science or public method to that. But when I started doing it myself, I did have already a little bit of experience behind me, and I think that helped me kind of take off a little faster, I think, than some other people trying to do the same thing.
I'll echo that in the early days of YouTube for me, I also was measuring how I was approaching that monetization thing. Not because the money's that good, right?
No.
I mean,
How many pennies per thousand views?
huh?
How many pennies per thousand views?
It's on that nature, right? I mean, look, every couple months I get $100 off of YouTube. I don't mind sharing that. It's not money,
No.
right? It's not real money. I have 3,600 subscribers, a little bit more than that. You have to have 1,000 to get monetized, and it's just not worth it financially. So there's no point. But just like you, I was seeing myself grow into the 1,000 mark as a way of an interest in learning that aspect of the community. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, like, because everybody in this room is obviously passionate about stamps. You came to the show, but then you also took a bus over to the museum, which is like another 20 minutes out of the way or so. You drove. But like one thing you can do when it comes to social media, most of you probably aren't in marketing or in social media marketing or content creation or any of this stuff. But what you can do if you love stamp collecting is when you do come across stamp collecting content and it's content that you like, if you do share it or comment or like it, it does help the content creator continue to get feedback of their content, but also grow their channel and continue to invest time in creating the content so you'll see more of it. So just,
Right.
I know you hear that a lot. It's cliche. A lot of businesses tell you to do that kind of thing. But on something that's so niche as Philately and such a small, or are they not able to hear?
There's a chat going on.
And everyone, sorry I couldn't talk.
Oh,
Keep talking. I'll read this. Thank
Yeah.
you. Joe, I'm reading about you right now. Go ahead.
But anyways, so if you see a creator out there who's doing stamp content, it takes half a second to give it a like, and that will really help them out.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you. Let me just read Joe's comment because he's here and he's just not able to do it. Hey, Ken and everyone. Sorry I couldn't talk and connect my video. My goal is to promote Philately through creating short videos about stamps and postal history. I created my YouTube channel and Instagram account to share my travel to international philatelic exhibitions, connect fellow collectors and philatelists, share their exhibits and their views about stamp collecting to reach the next generation. I'll point out, Joe, JC Philately, as you know him, is one of the huge Instagram people. Joe and Tristan, they're the best on Instagram. Are you blushing? You guys are the best. But when you go out in the community in Instagram for stamp collecting, you will see, I talked about 200, 300, 60 different creators in YouTube. For Instagram, oh my God, I bet there's 200 different creators for Instagram. The barrier of entry is a lot smaller, but there are dedicated collectors and creators on Instagram. That's a community that just outstrips YouTube by a mile. It's incredible. And Joe and Tristan are real standouts in that community. There's a number of other standouts, but those guys are the best. I'll put Tristan on the spot a little bit and shift a little bit into the nuts and bolts of things. Tristan has a way with creating content that is very well produced. Yeah, he's got lots of animations, lots of great camera angles. Can you talk a little bit, Tristan, about the amount of time you put into one, essentially 30-second to 1 minute video?
Yeah. It actually depends on the content. So, for example, if I'm sharing about the technical side of philately, we talk about looking for microscopic printing errors and whatnot. And so I have to do a lot of edits on the video, put a little bit of research as well. So to make sure, as Oscar mentioned earlier, we have to make sure that the info we put out is also correct. Otherwise, we would be misleading the other collectors. So in my case on Instagram, the most common form of content are what we call reels. These are short form videos, so you can only make a maximum of 3 minutes worth of a video. From 7 seconds to 3 minutes. So in my case, I play around between 15 seconds to a minute worth of videos. So for technical content, it can take me up to 3 hours to create, 3 to 4 hours to create this kind of video for a 15-second play. And for light content where I just show, I don't know, having coffee in the morning, go about with my philatelic activities, sorting, whatever, those kinds of light stuff, this can be done in 5 minutes. So you can actually create content every day to make philately visible to potential collectors in a fast manner. Okay, we don't have always to create well edited videos. So that's from my experience, it works both ways. So what I do on a weekly basis, on a bi-weekly basis, I plan what content to put out. So I have a mix of what I put out every week. So it cannot be all technical. Otherwise, I will lose interest of potential new collectors who aren't very keen on these topics yet. So we have to reel them in with good visuals, as Ken mentioned, good angles, animations, and so on. We have to reel them in, and then once they get attracted to that, they will begin to ask questions. Then you can also show them videos that are more like going into the next level before we go into really deep rabbit holes.
I want to point out something important that he said, which is for some videos, it takes a long time to create a very short amount of time, but for others, it's really fast. At least for mine, it's the same way. For every video I create, mine tend to be kind of pedantic. People say they love my videos, but they're sleepy and slow and long and detailed. It's a niche, and I don't have any problem with that. But I spend maybe 6 to 8 hours researching and scripting and thinking about what's going to come onto the page. I probably spend 4 to 6 hours recording and thinking about that, and probably spend another 3 to 4 hours editing before they go onto a video. So, and I used to put out one every 2 weeks. I can't keep up that pace. That's what I'd like to do. Those videos do very well. But I'll point out that I did a couple of videos in the last 2 days, including one today, that I literally planned in my head for about 10 minutes. I filmed in about 8. The video was 7 minutes long. I filmed in about 8, and then I uploaded today. So that was just that fast. The videos I've been doing ad hoc like that have been fantastically received. The ones I do with all that spending, they do fine. No objection. But you can't tell based on the algorithm or the time what's going to happen. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating world. And I'll tell you, I don't do the work, and I suspect Tristan doesn't do the work because we want to make them perfect for you. We do it because we want to make it perfect for us, right? Am I right? Yeah. Oscar, I know, can you talk about your process and how long and that goes? Because I think you have a style that looks like it would be very quick. And I'm just curious if that's true.
They can be quite quick. If it's not necessarily a video that I've planned and it's one that's been put on me, sometimes you get, say, an hour or two notice, or if you're lucky, you get a notice the day before. So you have time to prepare. And in some videos, you can see I've got a script in front of me, which I refer to, and it's all done in shorthand. And so, but other videos can be very well planned, well in advance. Some videos we wait for the material to come in before we can present it. Some videos have props. Some videos have messages that we want to get across. When we did a video on the Great Britain Castles series, that was a video that I wanted to do for some time, but we didn't have all the printings to be able to do it, because the rarest one, being the first Delarue printing, is the scarcest, and one came into the stock that we had at the time, and we've since sold it. And I thought, right, we could do the video now. So we'd had everything ready to go. We just had to wait for that one set of stamps to come in for us to do it, and then we filmed it very, very quickly. I don't, in the sort of processing when I'm making a video, of course, I present a camera with either myself or with Gabriel, and we just say like that. And if it doesn't work, I might say, oh, let's have another go. And the person's doing the filming, so all right, Oscar, we'll have another go and keep going. And so some videos very quick, we've done in 1 take, 2 takes. Other videos just takes a bit longer. It depends on the kind of day. I think my fail reels are quite funny. Well, I'm told. I've not seen any of them, and I think they save that for parties when I'm not around. And so once they're done, they're done. But I think the longest video that it ever took us to do was probably about nearly 2 hours. We just couldn't get it right, and it was just, I think it was just the date and time. We just couldn't get it right, and so we kept going and going, and then in the end, we managed it. But I think from start to finish, some videos can be an hour to get it right. Some videos can be 20 minutes. Some just take longer. It all depends on what the subject is and just on the mood sometimes. But if I'm planning a video, I can be planning it for days in advance. If I'm told to do a video, it's often a few hours notice if you're lucky.
That's a good point. You have a team behind you. Yeah. Do you want to add anything to that, Ryan? Your videos have this kind of lovely lighting
Yeah,
quality.
that's where I spend most of my time on the lighting.
Yeah.
No, I'll have a few ideas. I like to do my recording. I will record a bunch of videos at once, which is why I'm often always wearing the same thing. in
Oh,
my
I didn't
videos.
notice. Okay.
I'll do a bunch at once. The video recording takes about as long as it takes for me to just say it and read off a script. It does not take long at all. Setting up the lighting so it looks consistent each time I record. I am not a lighting expert or a camera expert. I do everything. All my videos are done from my phone. I use some various editing software, some with AI in it that helps make them look a little bit better. But I spend most of my time with my videos is the editing process because I do that myself, and I try to really. On my videos, I try to get rid of silent noise. I run a script through the video that basically gets rid of any gap that's like over a second long. Because I think most people, when they're scrolling through stuff, they are getting information very fast and they are going to scroll again if they're not caught on and hooked. So watching how other people do content with other topics, they do it very quick. They do it fast paced. There's not a lot of like your audience says yours is more of a sleepy voice. You might do this. Yours might be better for like sleeping and asthma, like kind of at night, if that's what you want. Mine's a little more upbeat in your face kind of thing. So yeah, most of my time is spent on the editing side, which I kick that can down the road so much because I have 2 little kids at home. I have another job that I do. Stamps is not my full-time job. So I really, it's like pulling teeth to get me to sit down and do editing because I feel like I'm wasting time because nothing is really happening yet. You're working on something that is for the future.
Right.
And I'm very much in the moment. I like to see results of things very quickly. So I find myself kicking that can. But I have a video that's about 90% ready to be published. And then there's 2 more that I filmed at that same time that are coming. I try to get 1 out a month, but the last one I did was maybe almost 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I've been behind, but I did notice, I have watched other influencers that have large followings and they all of a sudden, life gets in the way or something and they disappear for a year. They come back and they get like no views on their videos. It's almost like the platform dropped them for taking a break.
Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm trying to get something out, but I also don't want to just put something out just to put something out either.
Excellent. So we're going to shift gears here and talk about impact on the hobby. What we're going to do is just a few more minutes on this topic, and then we'll open it up to questions from the audience, okay? So I'll start out with the question of what other creators do we creators admire and try to emulate in some way? I'll tell you, for me, I look at the creators Silk on the web. If you watch them, the energy, the excitement about the hobby is just an incredible thing. I did, and he wasn't able to come, unfortunately. But for me, I look at that and I'm like, oh, I wish I could be like him. You can't be like him. You have to be like you. But I look at him and I'm like, I'd like to emulate that. For me, that's who I like. Anyone else want to chime in about who you admire in the community and want to be like?
I want to be like you, Ken.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's kind.
That's one. Another creator that I admire is Levin Parker. He has this huge following over at TikTok, and he's really good at narrating stories out of a very simple stamp or a revenue stamp or a tax stamp covering a wine bottle. He can make a good story out of it. And he has this skill that can reel in people who are not collecting stamps. If you look at his account, look at his videos, and check on the comments, the people who are watching and becoming interested in the topic are not current stamp collectors. So this is what I want to achieve in the future.
He does bring non-collectors in, I agree. Also, it's fascinating. TikTok is not a platform that gets a lot of philatelist content creators. So it's really interesting that
He used to
pile.
do Instagram, but I've talked to him since then. He's kind of just recessed back to TikTok, and also
He tried to do YouTube too.
He tried to do YouTube too.
But he
yeah.
said that takes more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone else want to weigh in? Oscar or Ryan?
You know, my style of my video was actually emulated from a true crime influencer that does these murder mystery documentaries, and I just like his presentation.
With the same upbeat music?
No, a little less upbeat. But so that comes to mind when I was putting my video together. Like, how am I going to do this? Like, what do I want my kind of tone and to be? So I kind of reflected back on that. But yeah, Levin's a good one. I like watching his content. He reached out to me because in one of his videos he wanted to show something I was doing on with one of my videos in it. So him and I did communicate a little bit. He's a real nice guy. But yeah, I like his presentation. You know, my videos seem very like over-engineered, and it's probably, you know, to a fault. They probably don't need to be, but that's, I think I mentioned earlier, I have a bit of OCD in me, so I like to try to, I have a vision in my head and I want to make it look like the vision in my head, and regardless of how much time that takes me to do. But
Yeah.
I think anybody can get on. Some of the best content that's out there is not high production. It's
Agreed.
like you said, Ken, like you have a quick idea, you want to show it, it's quick and gets to the point. And at the end of the day, you got to have like the good story behind it, or else it could be overproduced and look nice and polished, but people just aren't going to care.
That's right. That's right. Anything else? Anyone else?
It's like Joe just sent something.
Joe said so. Oh, excellent. Here, I'm going to read Joe. Agree with Tristan. I admire a few on YouTube and Instagram. Exploring Stamps, Graham. Tristan, me, Ken, Oscar and George from Stanley Gibbons, Levin, that dad guy, Rob from Canada. He's great.
Yeah,
I'll throw out a plug for Lisa Cat Stamps Cat Stamp
I've seen that one.
Cat. Fantastic. Thank you, Joe. Let me take the next question, which I think is kind of the meat of it, I think, for most of us, which is do you think social media is having an impact on the hobby? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it sounds like you've noticed these trends and seen all these, you've been tracking the volume of influencers that are showing up, and that's growing. So I would consider that to be hard evidence that it is.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, I do my stamp sales that I do are in a Facebook group, and I just wanted to mention I do think that is unique, because the other auction platforms like Hipstamp and eBay, you don't interact or know who the other people are that you're bidding with, and a lot of people do like that. But in my group, you get to see the other collectors who are interested in that same stamp. And you get to engage with them. You can comment or message them or even add them as friends. A lot of the people in my group are friends with each other. I don't know if they became friends through my group or other stamp collecting groups that are out there. But I just wanted to put that out there, that I do think, and you mentioned what you consider to be successful on YouTube is when you get comments, the engagement, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that you can embrace as a collector. There's far and few between of some of you might be the only stamp collector in your zip code, right? So a place to come online and communicate and talk with other like-minded people, I think social media is an excellent place for that. And when I started 10 years ago, I was in my little local town stamp club, and half the people there didn't have even email addresses for me to do an email newsletter to. That was 10 years ago, and a lot of those people, I've known a lot that have passed on, but now we have people that were 10 years ago that were 60 and had email addresses. They're 70 now and they still have email addresses. So
Yeah.
I think as time goes on, stamp collecting is one of those things. And you said what the stereotypical stamp collector is, or what people think of. And so we're probably one of the last industries to adopt technology.
Yes.
Because of that. So I think it's just, we're seeing the tail end of this stuff impacting our hobby.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. How about you two? What do you think the impact of social? Is it having an impact?
Oh, it certainly has. It's opened up another dimension in a world in which was rather closeted, in the sense that it's a hobby you can't really take out on safari stamps. They're very stationary. You can't do much with them other than look at them in confined spaces or in exhibition halls or from the comfort of your own home. And I think Philately is, in a way, because it's quite a stationary hobby, it's difficult to promote it when you don't necessarily have the means in which to do it. So traditionally, it's always been print. But of course, now with social media, you've got infinite possibilities. And it certainly helped. And the digital age has really helped Philately. But I think, as with all things, we've come rather late to it. We probably should have done it at least 20 years ago, taking the online further. But of course, nowadays, more and more people have social media. More and more people are connected than ever before. I know people that still don't have email addresses, and everything has to be done by letter. But on the whole, most people now do have a presence on social media, whether it's just a Facebook account or whether it's something more serious, or people got multiple accounts. So I think overall, it's been tremendous for the hobby, and I hope it grows. And there's some in this room, there are and online, there's some very passionate people who want it to succeed. I know I follow Tristan, I think, on Instagram, and I enjoy a lot of his content, and I know pretty much everybody else as well. And I've seen Ken's videos, and it's amazing how more and more people are as passionate as we are who want it to carry on and continue.
Excellent. Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Tristan?
Yeah, I echo what has been mentioned. So, for example, if you look at on Facebook, so there's a big, vibrant community out there. Numerous groups talking about different kinds of collections and topics and areas. Now, it's also important that we have to differentiate the Facebook platform. That is a platform that is getting older versus Instagram and TikTok, which is more catering to younger people. So as Facebook grows older and the users grows older, we also need to look into the future. So that means we need to have more presence both on Instagram and TikTok and whatever social media platform that will come in the next, I don't know, 3 years with AI going on. So we have to do that. And it would be also encouraging to see. So, for example, Boston 2026 right now. So I see a lot of people posting pictures, videos. One of my club, the American Helvetia Philatelic Society, they did a walkthrough earlier, which was live streamed. So I wish I could have prepared for that better and restreamed it to Instagram, so more people can see and view that. And for those who can't be on site on the event, we also feel that, I mean, they also feel that they are part of the whole event. And I think we are heading into that direction into the future, and we should leverage more and more with this platform so we can reel in the future and young collectors. I think this is the only way. This is the road that we have to take. So I encourage everyone in the room, create your accounts, take your photos, take your videos, whatever you are sorting for over the weekend, share them online. People will find that and they will start collecting stamps like you are.
That's great advice. Thank you. Okay, with that, I think I want to thank the panelists. You've been fantastic. Now let's open up the questions to the audience. Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yes, it certainly has many influencers joining Insta, Facebook, TikTok, and sharing their collecting and views about stamp collecting. It's great to see new content creators, and I wish more people would join from different countries. Yeah, different countries is an interesting thing, right? Here we are in this meeting, and why do I have 3 people online? Because we have 3 different countries here. So we've got countries everywhere participating in a thing. Now, unfortunately, we're doing this in English, which is kind of Eurocentric, but that's okay. We're global, and that's part of the deal here. It's fantastic. So let's open it to the audience. We got here first, I see.
Necessarily, that's a problem with you folks, but in general, that's my experience. And entertainment that's useful.
Are you guys able to hear those questions? No. Okay, let me rephrase it. The question is, how do you get audience members who aren't naturally already clicking on content to click on your stamp content?
Well, I think non-stamp collectors.
Non-stamp collectors, yeah.
How do you get I know because Tristan said his goal is to reach the young people who are not stamp collectors. So what do you do with your keywords or your content so that the algorithms don't just show it only to stamp collectors, I think is what he's asking.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that in my video content, I try to keyword as much as I can. but there really aren't a lot of keywords that are good here, right? But when I look at my stats about where do my views come from, 75% of them come from Google searches.
So then you have keywords. So it's Google is connecting your
Google,
content with the keyword search.
Yeah. 75% come from Google, and 2/3 of my views come from non-subscribed users, right?
Keywords on YouTube or on Instagram?
On YouTube.
But it's the same.
It's the same, but there's a trick in YouTube. There's 3 places it takes keywords from. One, you put them in a box, right? But that's stamp collecting, philately, that kind of stuff. The second is from the title. And so I try and make my titles as long as I can and contentful as I can to trick the algorithm. And the third is an odd little place. It comes from the the file name of the file you upload, which is a strange thing.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I put very long file names in there to do that. But indeed, I don't have to do much except keyword them and they get out there. Yeah. Yeah, I saw your hand too. Yeah.
What is your favorite tool in creating content? What do you like to use the most?
Yeah, my favorite tool in all my, not collecting, in the creation is this little microphone. The lavalier. Oh my goodness. I'm terrible with technology and with recording technology. I record using my laptop. I don't have good editing software. It's the free stuff. I couldn't make mics work very good, but I just love these stupid lavaliers.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. Anyone else?
I do all my editing in CapCut. I do desktop version. You could do mobile. I was doing some shorts. I had some similar content to Tristan. I haven't done it in probably over a year, but I was doing some shorts that were more themed on the subject matter of the stamp and the history of that subject matter versus stamp collecting. So I tinkered around a bit with that. When I was doing this a couple years ago, it was a long process. These 30-second videos sometimes would take me all day to do. But now with AI, I've tinkered around with some of the tools that are available now and there. I could probably do similar content in half the time at least.
And those tools are in
CapCut, yeah, is what I use.
Interesting, interesting. I've been meaning to try that. How about you guys? Any favorite tools?
I think for us it's Photoshop. And
Photoshop.
yeah, I think that's what they use. A lot of sort of videoing software. AI also helps as well. I can't remember the name of the microphones that we use, but they're the ones that you pin to your back. So that we have them attached to the back. They pick up everything, but they've also got these sort of podcast microphones as well, which they're fun. But they've got to be set quite high, otherwise you see them in shot.
Right, right. Tristan, you wanted to weigh in?
Yeah, in my case, I used to use CapCut like Ryan before, but then I'm a huge fan of Instagram, and since they released their own editing tool called Edits, I use it. So it's basically integrated into Instagram. Once you search for, I don't know, inspirational reels that you can emulate into your own, you can find it immediately and then upload directly into Instagram and Facebook. And for tools, I just use my camera. No fancy equipment. I don't even use a mic because the short form videos on Instagram, I don't do or I seldom do any talking videos. It's mostly quick transitions, animations, and with fancy music for a 15-second video.
I was just gonna say, if you're not comfortable talking on camera, there are AI tools for text to speech in CapCut. So if you have ideas you want to get out there, but you don't necessarily want to put yourself on there, you could use the AI to create speech.
Exactly. That's also helpful.
Yeah. And Joe writes, I use Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos, Canva for YouTube thumbnails. Excellent. You had a question.
Oh yeah, it does seem that a lot of people get hung up on good editing.
Yeah.
Let me just repeat the question. The question is, what's the cost of professional editing?
I don't, yeah. So it's been close to 10 years since I had a marketing agency. This was pre-COVID, pre-AI. So I don't know. I would imagine that the costs are significantly lower these days. And if you don't have the time to do your own editing, there are lots of freelance websites out there like Upwork where you could put a project on and say, hey, I have a video, I have raw video, I want it to be edited. Here's a sample video, I like this style. And somebody will quote you for it. It probably depends on the length of the video and stuff. But I would imagine if it's a short, 2-3 minute video that you wouldn't pay more than $100 to get it edited on a freelance site like that. Yeah.
And then just to kind of add something to the community, like not like that, but I find like when you're giving talks at clubs, if the person's showing slides, you can do like a screen capture. And if you just plug in a microphone, like a headset mic, and you just leave that around their neck, it picks good enough audio that basically every time you're having local presentations and you've only got 25 people in the audience, you can capture that, put that on your club's YouTube channels.
Yeah.
That's a
And
great suggestion.
what's also very nice is when people are speaking to other people, you speak really well. But if you're recording a video by yourself, you don't speak in as natural or fluid a way. So having an audience, like capture that gold that's happening in front of just 20 people, and then it will be there forever.
Amen. When you talk to the camera just by yourself, you think you forgot how to speak.
When there's nobody else in the room, it's just you. Yeah.
It's terrible.
weird.
It's so weird. Okay, so any other questions back here?
Thinking back to your most popular episodes you've ever done, what were some of the subjects that really caught on with your listeners?
So for me, I've had two video styles that have caught on. One has been very often searched Google terms like Washington Franklin's or British Victorian stamps, right? Those do very well because they're evergreen in terms of people are always searching for those things. The other one is just a mystery to me. I did an unboxing of a friend gave me a collection. They said, I don't have anything to do with this. Take it. Tell me if there's something valuable in it, I'll take it back. And I found a small quarter gold eagle in there.
Wow.
So really nice thing. So I titled it Searching a Friend's Collection and Striking Gold. Boy, that to this day gets huge views, and I have no idea why. Gold, maybe. I should just put found gold in every, but I have no idea why. Anyone else?
People like watching other people strike it rich online.
They do, yeah.
So what would you say to someone who wanted to put together something just to grow the community?
I'll tell you, the community grows because we put content out on these social media platforms, especially the younger community, right? I will say that especially what I see on Instagram is a constant flow of people who do the simplest thing. They take a picture of one stamp and they put it up there every day. Boy, that's pretty darned effective. Anyone here could do that. And if that's helping grow the hobby, I'd encourage you to do that kind of thing.
I also attended a seminar put on by Google, YouTube, like all the big social medias. And one of the things they said that is in all their research, just speaking like as you're walking down the street or just like a 30-second, 1-minute video will do way better. Of you even just like they gave the example of just sitting at your desk at the office. Yeah.
It doesn't, we talk about, some of us do complicated videos and takes a lot of time, but we also do simple videos and you don't have to do something complicated, right? Some of the best creators out there are just putting their camera in front of their face, and I'm proof that you don't have to be pretty to do Instagram or to do YouTube. That doesn't work on me. Do you guys want to add anything to that question about encouraging people to join the community in this way, make content?
One of going back to what we were saying earlier about content creators we admire, there was I can't remember the guy's name, but he works for a book dealership in the UK, and he started doing these videos where he would get a book. Sorry, I'm advertising here. He'd get a book and he would just talk about it for 60 seconds and say what he liked about it. It didn't have to be rare, didn't have to be valuable. He just said what he liked about it. And those videos get tens of thousands of views. And I asked our marketing team if we could do that, and they said no. They wanted something more highbrow. So my advice would be do it. If you have an idea and you're passionate about it, and if you have the force of will enough to do it, go ahead and bloody do it. It's an amazing where it'll take you.
Amen. Got another question back here.
I think you have the advantage that pretty much anything you talk about, because of your accent,
He laughed. I could tell he heard that.
Yes, I get that a lot. We were at a stamp show in Romania a few years ago, and I was there with another great philatelist. Sadly, she's no longer with us. I don't know if anyone here encountered Constanza Dennis. She was a fantastic philatelist. Oh, Tristan's nodding. She's great. She's sadly no longer with us, and she had a very great presence on Instagram. Her main love was post boxes. Anyway, going back to the story, we were in this bar in Romania. We're having a drink, and Guy taps me on the shoulder, and I turn around and say, "Okay, what have I done? What have I said?" And he said to me, "You're the most British man I've ever seen." And he walked away. And then, because everyone else is pissing themselves laughing, in the middle of this bar because of what just happened. I was so confused. But there you are. I get it a lot. Don't worry.
Excellent. Another question.
Do the four of you have some advice?
So the question is, do you have any advice for going back in time about how to make the Boston 2026 show either better advertised in social media or better represented on social media?
No, I know Exploring Stamps. He went to a show and he did a nice video that was there. He really showcased the show well. I don't know that I'm not like a guerrilla film. I don't go out into the wild and like film stuff like he does. I'm more like behind my desk and it's very staged. But yeah, I mean, if more people like that could get out there, and everybody has a camera in their pocket. Like there's nothing stopping you from sharing, like, look, everybody, where I'm at.
Right.
It's just a matter of doing it. But yeah, I think that would be neat. It would like what Tristan said. I think most people, like for me, I mentioned as a lot of people did, and like Ryan here in the audience, like inherited a stamp collection. That's how I got exposure to it. If I never inherited that collection, I would have never got into this or known about it. So if the show could get publicized online and people are like, there's probably people that came into the show that were local here that had no idea there was even a stamp show, that they even did stamp shows,
So I do think there's a piece of this that's not so hard, right? Thomas did a great job of hyping up the show beforehand, right? Great job, fantastic job. But in today's age, there's no reason why we couldn't have had a committee involved that made sure that there was a camera on every presentation in the show. There's no reason we couldn't have had that, right? But I don't know if it's too costly. I don't know that it's too costly or it just didn't occur to us to do that. It's a lot of work. It takes volunteers. But it could have been live, and there are obstacles to that. Whether that's a priority or not is hard to say. Any other thoughts, guys?
Yeah, in the case of the American Helvetia Philatelic Society, we have our daily presentations at 11 a.m. That runs since Saturday until the last day. The live streaming was done via Zoom, like this one, but it was broadcasted publicly, and there are no glitches. I don't think the Wi-Fi is a problem. It's just a simple setup. There's a camera, Zoom, presentation, and that's it. It works actually. And I can also suggest, for example, in the future, more live streams from the floor. People walking around, I don't know, focusing on one exhibit and so on. And this can motivate. I mean, can make the event more vibrant online.
Yeah, I would think so. Oscar, did you have something you wanted to add?
Just carrying on from what Tristan was saying, I'm a member of 3 quite prominent societies in the UK. So one, you've got the Royal Philatelic Society. Every one of their meetings is live streamed. So you have a standing display and then you have a talk afterwards. The talks are always live streamed. They also have dedicated Zoom meetings. Another one is the Great Britain Philatelic Society. They do a similar sort of hybrid thing. They'll have physical stand displays and live streams at their meetings. The Rhodesia Study Circle, they have, rather than have meetings throughout the year, they have a conference which lasts about 4 days. And I was asked to give a talk there, and that was live streamed for my talk that I did on Zoom in a very sort of similar setup to what you've got over there in Boston. And apart from, say, a few glitches of, say, people over a certain age talking into the wrong end of a microphone, most of it worked pretty well. And it's amazing how quickly it can all happen. So, and of course, there were people who tuned in from America, from South Africa, from Australia, and from all over the world just to hear lots of people talk about little things that they thought were interesting. So it can be quite primitive. It can be it can be as difficult as you want it to be and as complicated as you want to be. But at the end of the day, the basic things work, and as long as you got those, world's your oyster.
Excellent. Thank you. That's good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do like a virtual tour of the museum.
I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one more comment, and then I'm gonna give these guys a final thought, and we'll wrap up.
First of all, thank you for being here. You all look young. The social platforms I used to use back in the day before MySpace was ParaChat.
It's a great point. Thank you. I'll raise that challenge. I'll echo it so you can hear. First of all, it was a thank you, but second, a challenge for all of us that we don't end where these videos end. We end when we hand these new philatelists into the rest of the community. And so I take that challenge appropriately. Thank you. Okay, so I appreciate all your time. I'm going to give everybody just a moment to advertise whatever they want to advertise about their channels or their companies, and then we'll be wrapped up and ready to walk around and talk. Okay, so let me start with Oscar. Oscar, any final words or advertisement for you?
I think really any sort of final thoughts I can give are going to be, I think we should all just keep doing what we're doing and do it better each time. We're very passionate, we're all very creative, and we all have messages and stories we want to get out. And that at the end of the day is what Philately is all about. It's the stories. It's not just the story of the stamp. It's the story of the postmark. It's the story of how it got there. It's the story of who designed the stamp, who delivered the stamp. It's even the story about what the context and the history was behind why a stamp was issued and how it survived. And, Stanley Gibbons being 170 years in the game, we're full of stories. And I've been working through our archive at the moment, and we've got some things brewing about that to talk about online. So then that's a little sneak peek there. So I just think if we've got these stories, we should share them. And I think it's all for the better of the community and the hobby at large.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Tristan, you want to weigh in?
Yes, my only message is I encourage everyone to help close the visibility gap. Since you are all passionate stamp collectors, so whenever you do your tasks, pick up that camera, pick up that phone, take a photo, record a short video, put it online. Let's all be there. And hopefully the new collectors will come in and we can reel them into the societies, the communities, and hopefully we have a new pipeline of future exhibitors.
Excellent. Thank you. I think I have another message here. I've got Joe weighing in. Sorry, everyone, I couldn't join live as I'm currently recovering from an injury. Would be happy to join in another presentation coming days or do a collab with Ken and Tristan. Keep creating videos, promote Philately, and share your happy moments. That's good advice.
What's that?
The collab.
The collab. Yes, that collab sounds good. Mm-hmm. Dive in. You got the floor.
Yeah. Well, I remember the small stamp club in the local town I live in, or in the town I live in California, small. When I joined it, there was like 20 active members that actually came to the club. When I stopped doing the club and started pivoting into doing stuff on social media and online, there was maybe 10 members left. And we actually, COVID ended the stamp shows for Fresno Stamp Show in California that had been going on since the 20s. So a 100-year stamp show came to an end because of COVID. But I told the people, the club members that were really bummed out about this, they were really upset that there wasn't going to be a show this year. And I told them, I said, I said, if the hobby looks like it's shrinking, you care about it, it's something you enjoy doing, then you need to expose it out to other people and get it out there. So what does that mean? That means telling other people that you collect, or taking a photo or posting a post on social media. Not everybody, I'm like Ken, I have a separate personal Facebook profile, and then I have one for stamps, because none of my family wants to see 75 pictures of stamps every week. But they might want to see one. Like if you just shared like, hey, this is what I do in my free time, like your friends and family might think that's interesting. And the way social media works is everybody's connected. It's that 6 degree or 2 degrees of separation or whatever. They may not be interested, but if they give it a like, then maybe somebody that they are connected with gets exposed to it. So you just don't know where it's going to end up. And just to echo the other guys, that we're in a day and age now where everybody is a content creator of some sort. If you've ever taken a picture and shared it with someone. So yeah, I just encourage everybody that if you really truly love Philately, doing things like liking and sharing and posting and telling people you do that is probably the best thing you can do to keep the hobby active.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you. I'll give my pitch. My pitch is I've got plenty of subscribers. Go find some small channel that you've never watched before and give them a like and a subscribe. Okay, thank you all.
That's very good. Thank you.